Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, or I should almost say good morning. I love your attention right now. I know it's late, but I'd like to share with you something that's very important. We're talking about Web 3.0, and I actually want to show you how to make capital and profits in using Web 3.0. I promise you, if you can just give me a little bit of your attention and calm down just a little bit, I will share with you a very valuable gift at the end of this presentation. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for your attention. Many people who know me would probably describe me as a very aggressive and passionate entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. Prior to founding Red Swan CRE, I founded a company, a .com company, this logistics, that actually sold for $150 million to a public company called ADP. They thought, and since then, I went to Cushman & Wakefield, where I was the executive director for 17 years, doing billions of dollars of transactions, and successfully closed many deals. When I announced that I was going to leave to go start a startup, many of my friends thought that I must have bumped my head and made a bad decision. They thought maybe I was delusional. But I told them I was going to start a blockchain company in real estate because I knew that this was a very exclusive opportunity to disrupt a $33 trillion industry of commercial real estate. The world is changing. All the digital assets in the world are starting to really multiply. We went from Uber cars, we went to from documents to DocuSign, we went from cash to cryptocurrency, and now we're going from commercial real estate into digitized real estate. The reason for this is because consumers are demanding convenience, they're demanding activity right now, and they want to make sure productivity continues. So that's why we're going to digitize assets. If you look at cryptocurrency, it's eclipsed at $3.1 trillion last year, and probably cryptocurrency will reach $10 trillion over the next 10 years. This means that the M1 supply of cryptocurrency will be just less than half of all the currency circulating in the world. And this is very important because we think that commercial real estate combined with real estate tokenization is going to create a lot of stabilization with cryptocurrency and also a lot of wealth in the world. We tokenize commercial real estate. What does that mean? That means we take real estate and divide it into fractional shares and then make sure that we can issue those fractional shares to customers in small increments as low as $1,000. What that means for you is now you finally have access to the top real estate in the world, such as this building. We can tokenize and let you become a shareholder of property just like this. Why is that important? Because for the longest time, real estate was not available to the masses and the lower level investors. But now, thanks to blockchain technology, it is. This is all regulated, so it's definitely in conformance with the SEC of the United States, which means that we're doing things appropriately to make sure that you can have the benefit of tokenization for your balanced portfolio. For property owners, this is also very important for you property owners because many times you are forced to sell your property because you're trying to liquidate and give your shareholders a return of their capital. Now you don't have to do that. Now all of a sudden you can pull out equity of your property and still maintain 100% control. This is very important for you property owners, and I know a lot of you are here in this room, that you can actually tokenize your asset and allow cryptocurrency investors to invest in your property. In America and in many places in the world, the way real estate is capitalized, they use at least 60% of capital financing from banks, and 40% of that is considered to be equity. That's your money, the equity. And that equity is locked in the asset and it cannot be pulled out until you sell the asset. We're changing all that with tokenization. Now all of a sudden, you can pull equity out of your asset and put it to use in buying other properties. I'm not sure if you heard me. I said you can pull capital out of your asset and still own 100% of the property in terms of management rights and be able to use that extra cash to buy other properties around the world. This is what you call opportunity cost. Because when your money is sitting in an asset, it's dead and cannot be used, you're losing the opportunity of reinvesting that capital someplace else. And this is what tokenization can really do for you if you follow these basic steps of tokenization. We've already done the hard work. We've convinced owners that tokenization is a benefit to their property and also a benefit that is going to give them additional options in terms of financing that they've never seen before. So now, once we take these assets, and we've tokenized $3 billion worth of assets so far in America, and we hope to tokenize more assets right here in UAE. Now all of a sudden, we're using that opportunity cost for them to, like I said, make additional revenue. What we do to make money is that we take those assets we've tokenized and we create revenue streams by providing services for these new digital assets. We have, like I said, the liquidity service, we have broker-dealer service, we have an exchange so that you can now sell your shares on a secondary market and obtain liquidity. But most of all, this allows property owners, like I said, to give liquidity to the investors so they don't have to keep their money invested in your asset until that property is sold. There are many use cases for tokenization. We've started with apartment buildings, also office buildings, hotels like this one, and now we're looking at power plant tokenization, allowing the communities around these properties to invest their money in smaller increments as low as $1,000 to $10,000. This relieves you from having to write large checks to invest in properties like this one of over $500 to $1 million. We now will let you buy into properties at $1,000, which is unbelievable, unheard of, but it's happening right now. Let me give you an example. If you own this property that is worth $250 million and you were thinking about selling this property, we would ask you not to sell the property, but pull $90 million out of this property so that you now can park this money into other assets. This is what tokenization can do for your real estate. But as I look at the UAE, and especially Dubai, what I think is a very massive opportunity is for not only to be your property owners getting your equity back in your property, but you're also allowing foreign investors to be able to invest in your property, and those foreign investors will become visitors and tourists and customers of Dubai, which really stimulates your economy here, which is what I think everyone in the UAE would like to see. Does it work? Yes, it works. This is not a concept, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually a real-life situation. This is an example of a property. This is a $284 million property that we tokenized in the United States. We raised $10 million for this property, and I can show you from the results of this tokenization, we were able to have actually $1.3 million of investors buy into the asset. You can see that 40% of these investors are actually foreign investors, which means that they're not from this area, but they're still investing into a property in this marketplace. You can see the increments of investment as high as $836,000 and as low as $1,000. They all have fractional shares of ownership of this asset. I think it's very important to you because many of you in this room cannot afford to buy, I'm sure a lot of you can't afford to buy, I shouldn't say that, but to write a check for $20 million or $1 million to invest in a property like this hotel is not easy for many people. But now when you use this technology, you can own a fractional share of this hotel for $1,000.